As U.S. President-elect Donald Trump gets ready to take the reins of power once again in Washington, concern around the world is focusing on his economic policies and the talk of tariffs. This has put a group of countries known as BRICS in the spotlight. Trump is promising to penalize them with tariffs of 100%. BRICS is an informal group of 9 countries, originally founded by Brazil, Russia, India, and China, who have said they would like to move away from using U.S. dollars. Well, right now, nearly 90% of foreign exchange transactions are conducted in U.S. dollars, which the U.S. is keen, of course, to protect. So how this conversation about BRICS and the U.S. dollar how's that affecting the rest of the world? Joining us with a closer look this morning is Noor Kadri. He's a professor at the Telfer School of Management at the University of Ottawa. Good morning.
Good morning, Anne-Marie.
First of all, remind us, what advantages does the power and the reach of the American dollar offer to the U.S.?
Well, since the mid-'70s, when Nixon stopped to peg the American dollar against gold, the U.S. dollar has been used or pumped mostly by its use. So the demand on the U.S. dollar, a lot of countries had the reserves in U.S. dollar. Transactions mainly in petroleum were happening in U.S. dollar. So the Americans, all that they need to do is they can print dollars, and that's how they peg their money, unlike many other countries around the world, which have to protect their currency.
Right.
When that demand starts to go down, it's going to smell trouble for the United States.
The idea of BRICS creating its own currency was first floated last year, but after Trump's tariff threats, India since has backed away from that idea. Why is this concept such a threat to the U.S.?
Well, as I said, the demand for the U.S. dollar is gonna go down, and this in itself is the biggest threat. The challenge is in countries starting to export and import and do all kinds of transactions with other forms of currencies. We already started to see that, like China and Russia, they are exchanging a lot of their work with their own currencies. Mm-hmm. And as they expand their alliance, they could probably unify one currency. The idea of having another currency to challenge the U.S. is not new. It happened in the early 2000s when we had the Euro zone started to trade with the Euros. But the Euro was not like punching above its weight in terms of taking traction from the U.S. dollar in a much, especially that economically most of Europe is tied with the U.S. They are part of NATO, mm-hmm. and they are part of the same club. And in this situation of the BRICS, a lot of those countries, especially they're led by China, they're foes to the U.S. They're economic foes to the U.S. The United States, they fear China on all levels. And now this BRICS alliance is expanding its potential. They have more than half the population of the world now. Yeah. Not only this, they've got about 30% of the GDP of the world. They have a lot of applications of countries trying to join BRICS. And this is just going to expand their alliance. And any move to introduce their new currency, they're calling it the unit. Yeah. If they use it, it's going to put more pressure on the U.S. dollar.
So what we're seeing essentially then is economic threats, tariffs versus changing of currency. How effective would tariffs be in undermining what BRICS is trying to accomplish? I guess what I'm asking is, which is the more powerful negotiating tool?
Well, it's too late for the U.S. to put that. Any tariffs now, they're going to pressure the American economy more and more, because a lot of countries, they are diversifying their economies. These countries are mostly looking at other economies to trade with than the U.S. The BRICS alliance is strengthening its work together with within its own club. We've seen them expanding that group. So you said they were started by China, Russia, Brazil, and India, and South Africa. 2 years ago, they were joined last year. They were joined by Iran, UAE, Saudi Arabia, so Ethiopia, and Egypt. Saudi Arabia and Argentina have been invited, and they're while Argentina backed away, Saudi Arabia is in the plans of joining. Other countries will join. Those things will align also with the China's initiatives of the Road and the Belt too. So there will be more more power within that alliance as opposed to the tariffs that are imposed by Mr. Trump.
Professor at the Telford School of Management at the University of Ottawa, Noor Qadri, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Good to have some clarity on that.
Thank you, Anne-Marie.
If you liked that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.